Welcome to Break Free and Thrive. Today, my guest is Sharon Liapis, and Sharon is Chef Sharon, and she does cooking from home. She actually goes on site and she does serving as well. But one of the things that I really want to share about Sharon is this has been her passion since she was a youngster.
Yeah,
And it is an opportunity to pursue your passion and really thrive in that environment. So thank you, Sharon, for joining us today.
thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So one of the things when I had asked you about telling me a little bit about what you do, you gave me really a bio, and that bio told me that you have had this yearning for cooking and being a chef since you were young, and you're actually living in your parents' home. And as a result of going through that renovation, you've kind of renovated your life as well. And now you're doing chef work for lots of people in the neighborhood, in the community.
Correct. Yes. Um, when I went back to culinary school, I quit my full-time job, went back to culinary school, and, you know, really kind of fell into this through some suggestions. During a cooking class, one of my friends says, "Oh, I would love if you made this soup for me. Can you make this soup for me every day?" And I'm like, "Well, no, not really." And then it kept churning. And then finally, I started cooking meals for family and friends.
And when you say cooking meals for family and friends, you mean you make volumes of meals and then you package them up and you also deliver them. Is that correct?
I do.
Okay. And as a result of that, I've actually taken a look at some of the menus that you have, and there are some really yummy things that you make, such as lemon blueberry sheet pan pancakes, which are delicious. And then also caprese turkey sliders with a peasant salad and tarragon chicken with rice, and also pork meatball kebabs with lettuce wraps. Where do all of these recipes come from?
Well, I have about 5 different magazines I order, and I just look through them. Anywhere from Food and Wine to the newspaper to Southern Living and a ginormous cookbook collection. And then again, a lot of my cooking classes. We do recipes in there, and I'm like going, "Oh, my clients would love this." So I just put it in my repertoire for the upcoming weeks.
Okay. And you also are an author of a couple of cookbooks, isn't that correct?
No, I helped sell cookbooks to the Junior League of
Oh,
Salt Lake City.
okay.
Haven't authored any of my own.
Okay.
Not sure if I want to.
I think you're hiding this big opportunity for you because I think a lot of people would be really interested in some of the things that you have kind of put together as part of your business. So when you post that you have, meals for the week, people get in touch with you and they let you know how many, servings they want, and then you go ahead and deliver them. Have you found things that people give you feedback on and then it kind of bubbles into, oh, well, I think I'm doing that in a couple of weeks, or I think I'm doing something else? Do you get suggestions from them?
Oh, yeah, very much so. When the cauliflower rice craze started, I got a lot of like friends saying, "Oh, you got to do this recipe. Oh, you got to do this recipe." So I do a cauliflower breakfast muffin, and you take cauliflower rice and you put it around the muffin tin, and then you put an egg in the middle of it and you bake it, and everyone loves those. So I have a lot of things that we keep repeating, such as the shepherd's pie, which is coming up next week. And, you know, it's amazing. Risotto. People love risotto.
Well, and just talking about some of these recipes kind of makes your mouth water because just the way you describe them is not just the way anyone describes them. It's the way a chef would describe them and their gourmet touches in them. And I think that's one of the things that really attracted me when you and I connected, because there's such a way that you present the food, and it's also mixing, you know, the savory and the sweet and the all of the other tastes, and you do that so beautifully. So tell us, how do you do that?
I don't know. Maybe that's just the part of me that comes out easily in recipes, and cooking and showcasing food. It's just always been just kind of me. Everyone says that's just how Sharon does it. I don't know how she does it, but she does it.
Is there a favorite meal that you like making, or a favorite recipe that's your like signature?
I think some of my signature recipes is the turkey burgers. So I'll do turkey burgers, turkey sliders, and really they're all formed from ground beef, but I don't prefer to do beef anymore. And turkey can be just as is much more healthier for you and much more tastier if you add all these great herbs and spices and flavors to it. So I think that would be my signature dishes are my turkey sliders. My favorite coming up in May will be obviously chile verde. So.
Okay. And you actually, as a result of having had your business for a few years, you've expanded it so that you're now providing lunches for one of the local schools. And I know that that has totally changed the way students and parents look at hot lunch at school. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. I had a client who has 3 daughters that go to a local Catholic. It's a small private school. And they said, we've lost our lunch program, which no one was pleased with anyway. And they asked me if I would come in and cook for their students, their kids. So I take some of my same recipes that I do for my clients, and I just kind of simplify them for kids' palates. And the kids love it. The 8th grade boys and 6th grade girls come back for seconds all the time.
That is clearly the sign of an excellent chef. Clearly.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of finicky palates in that group.
Yes.
Okay.
And they requested tamale pie coming soon at the school. So they love my tamale pie.
Oh, wow.
So
So are the recipes more for school of a, I'll say, of a particular geographic area, or you really cover different opportunities, you know, all different types of foods for them?
I have all different types of cuisines I do for them. You know, the tamale pie, we'll be doing this chicken tetrazzini. I do turkey burgers, taco salads. It's just, I like to keep it fresh. If I get bored with it, other people are going to get bored with it. So that's why I changed my menu so much. Is I hate having the same thing day after day. So.
Well, and I can say that because my daughter reminded me, do you know, Mom, we used to have every Tuesday night, we used to have the same thing. And I was like, no, we didn't. And then I kind of looked back and I was like, yeah, we did. And I didn't even realize that. And I think that's really what kids are looking for. They want to have, you know, like things that are fresh and things that are different and things that are kind of adventurous, because I know sometimes, you know, it's like, well, I'm not really sure I want to try that. And then they're like, oh, but the other things that she makes are really good. So this is probably going to be good as well.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the kids are that way. So
when you first started at the school, was there kind of a parameter that you needed to stay within? You know, needed to have salads so many days a week, or needed to have whatever, you know, not having pasta or something like that, or just balance?
I just kind of looked at what the USDA Utah puts out for kids and for school lunch programs. And, you know, everyone needs protein, everyone needs vegetables, and everyone needs a fruit. I think cheese and of course everyone needs milk, but I think the cheese and some of the starches can be limited, just because that drags their momentum in school for the rest of the day if they get too many simple sugars. And that's just from my background, watching my diet and my food intake. So I make sure they have enough protein. They always have fresh fruit. They always have a salad to choose from, or carrots and celery. And I just let them go for it when it comes to fruits and vegetables.
Okay. So have you found anything that they don't like? There's a vegetable they don't care for, or there's some dish, or they've been really open to trying new things.
Um, they've been pretty open, which is pretty amazing to watch, because I remember as a kid, I had my favorites and that's all I wanted to eat. But more than anything, a lot of kids do come back for, the carrots, the mini baby carrots, and some even come back for more salad or more oranges. It's
Good chef.
amazing. Yeah.
So when you were going to school, let's talk about that. When you were going to school in chef school, were you prepared for making all of these different cuisines, whether it was for children or adolescents or adults or different geographic areas, or was it, you know, more traditional training?
Um, the first term you go through the basics, just the basics. Learn the basics, whether it's the French traditional cooking of the sauces and the soups and the meat prep and the bakery items. And then they do break it down by cuisines, whether it's, South American, Italian, German, Russian. And then you kind of explore that way. They really only gave us a glimpse of um, nutrition in one class, and I still have that book because it's restaurant guided. But they didn't really talk about how to feed kids or how to make healthy meals, because they only cared about, this is the basics and this is what you start from, and then you branch and do your own thing.
Okay.
So I taught myself a lot when I got out of school.
Okay. And I know that you've been doing some cooking classes at home, and you open your home to having either women or couples come in and they learn some of your recipes, or you've gone to other places and you've done cooking for them. Which do you prefer? In your own kitchen or being out and
Mm,
about?
well, I love being home because then I can really get creative. Um, and I have everything here that I need, and I know that I need. The libraries have asked me to come in and cook in their facilities, just in a conference room, but then I have to transport everything. So then it gets a little hard, but still, I love being out and meeting people. And I think that's the best thing about the school too, is the interaction with the kiddos and the students and the parents and the teachers and those who come through and just say, wow, you really do this, and you really must like doing this. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of my life.
It is your life, but it also improves your life because it's good for you.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I totally enjoy it. It was the best decision I ever made, was to quit that 9 to 5, sit at a desk job, and to go back to culinary school. And then just to play around and see what was out there. Whole Foods really helped me in understanding how to prepare things for a mass market or mass setup. And then, and just dealing with people and finding out their likes and dislikes and desires and all these crazy diets that you hear about out there now. You get little tidbits of it. I've just walked away and made what's best for me and best for what my clients and people tell me that they want to see.
So, from the standpoint, because people have so many different lifestyles, I'm sure that kind of creates some challenges for you, but you're making things based on what's healthy, but also paying attention to if they have any dietary restrictions. Is that correct?
Correct. lots of people have food allergies. I have food allergies. After I finished school, got diagnosed with gluten intolerance. I always knew I had dairy intolerance, but then lettuces of all things. My body does not react the same to lettuces like most people. Coconut makes me extremely sick. Um, and then, I run into people who have garlic and onion problems and they get migraines from it. So when people say, oh, they have a nut allergy, I understand. I feel bad for them because I don't, but I listen and I do the best I can to make sure it's all their needs are met.
Okay. And as a result, have you found that there are other recipes that you are more inclined to try based on the restrictions or dietary needs of your clients?
Yes and no. Um, yes, I guess I think of myself first because I want to taste them and make sure that they taste good for my client.
Mhm.
And then it's fun to see if I can make them taste just as good without them ever knowing it's gluten-free or made with with rice flour or something that they would say they would never ever believe it was, gluten-free or no onions or no tomatoes or something, something that really surprises people that it is or is not in a menu item.
Okay. Well, I know that I've taken a couple of your cooking classes when you've done the cooking, and I was really surprised because it was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm really going to like this, or I'm sure it's going to be a little bit too spicy. And I kind of went with these expectations saying, well, we'll just kind of see. And I was just so pleasantly surprised because everything was really awesome. The flavors were very, I don't want to say sharp, but they were delicate, and you could pick out that there were some spices in there, but they were very palatable. And I guess that's the one thing that, when someone says, oh, I'm a chef, the first thing I'm like, oh, it's going to be a little too much of this or a little too hot. And I think that's one of the things that I don't know if you moderate that or you kind of just know how to blend all of those spices together. But it's just perfect. It's just perfect. And I think that's one of the attributes that you have, knowing the clients that you're cooking for, in addition to what people like in the area really like.
Yeah, I think, and thank you. I do try to make sure that all the flavors are there and people enjoy them, and it is perfectly good for anybody's palate. You always have those friends that have to add Cholula to their meals to make it more hot and spicy for them, and that's fine. Let them do that on their own, but I like to keep it just plain, and it's not really even plain. It's just simple. Keep it simple and have all the flavors so everyone recognizes and enjoys them, and then they can put whatever spice or more salt if they want when they get home.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the things I wanted to add. You do use spices, so it's not that things are bland. They do have a lot of flavor. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people, when they hear, oh, the chef is cooking, it's going to have all of these heavy flavors, and yours are really um, moderate, but at the same time, they're light and flavorful. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of maybe organic might be a good terminology for the flavor base because I don't go extreme, but it's well flavored that you can enjoy it. And plus, when people come to my classes, I tell them, take a recipe home, add what you like at home. We all have different flavors. So say you make a soup and you don't like thyme, don't put thyme in it, put basil in it instead. Add your family's flair to it, and that's your own recipe.
Okay. And one of the other things that you do that I think is really cool is you have pairings. So there are times where you will have the beverage that should be served or the other dishes that will be served. And I think a lot of times we take that for granted. Oh, you just make this one dish, and you actually open it up so that you know what to mix or what to prepare with those different dishes. How do you do that?
I think it's just been by trial and error, actually.
Okay.
and then just, like I said, watching what's going on. I don't watch a lot of cooking shows, but I like to look at menus and magazines and see what they're pairing with them in certain dishes. And so it's kind of fun to kind of play with that. And when I get it right, it's awesome. Every once in a while I mess up, but you know.
Not very often. Not very often. One of the other things that I did want to ask about, have you done any of your own cooking shows where you've been photographed, or locally you've had opportunities to cook for others and it's been, I think that would be just awesome, because you at the stove, at the oven, in the kitchen are just fun to watch too.
Thank you. Years ago, when I was part of Junior League of Salt Lake City, yes, they did come in and they were filming me as I was cooking and preparing stuff. I have done a few things on stage, but really not a lot, and that's okay. I'm kind of a low-key person, but yeah, it's fun at the same time.
Okay. So do you help people transform their lifestyles with some of the recipes that you make? Because I think you're introducing a lot of new foods, and some of those new foods are opening your palate to new tastes.
Yeah, the thing with ground turkey, using ground turkey instead of beef, I think that's been huge for a lot of my customers and clients and friends even. They love it, but they knew it was out there. They just didn't try it because they were so used to the ground beef.
Okay.
And when I first started almost 4 years ago, I had a woman that was doing 2 jobs and starting to get into her retirement phase and everything. And she just wasn't eating right. And her daughter say, "We need you to help my mom eat right." She ordered all of her meals through me and lost 45 pounds in 18 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So did she learn how to eat right, or it was just she needed someone that would make the meals that would help her to kind of change her eating habits?
I think for her it was change her eating habits.
Okay.
Because I think she was eating too much fast food and grab and go things that weren't necessarily as healthy. And I think it stressed her out too, to even think about what to fix herself. When you're working 2 jobs, you don't have time or energy to do that, really. And I think it really helped her just kind of not have to worry about that aspect, and took some stress out of her life so she could take care of other things in her life, which was, starting good eating, and which helped her lose some weight.
So when I want to lose weight, I'm going to contact you and have more cooking done for me.
Correct. More turkey burgers.
There you go. Do you have a favorite spice that you use?
Smoked paprika.
Oh.
Every once in a while, if something's not quite right, and I know it has like a chili powder or something in there, if I just throw in a little bit of smoked paprika, then it really just pops the flavor.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Do you use infused oils, olive oils? Are those any of your favorites that you use?
I think for finishing oils, I like the infused oils, such as like a mushroom truffle oil. I think that's always fun.
Sounds good. You're making me hungry.
That's the other problem of being a chef. You're always hungry or trying new foods.
And are there things that you crave that you say, "Oh, I've got to make that because I haven't had that in a while," or "I want to try this new recipe because I haven't had that in a while"?
Oh, all the time. All the time. In fact, tonight I think I'm going to do salmon for my husband because we haven't had salmon for a while, and I have this honey garlic glaze that I want to put on there that sounds really good, and we haven't had fish for a while. So once again, I need to mix it up.
So, and he will be the true test to say, "Okay, let's make this again," correct?
Oh, always. Yep.
Okay, Sharon.
He's told me a few times, "Nope, don't do this one again."
but that happens so infrequently.
Maybe once a month. I'll be honest, maybe once a month.
Okay. That's because you're trying new things.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's also used to knowing when he comes home from work and he may be surprised with what's being served tonight.
That's true. Yeah. We did a lot of that through culinary school. And even now he's like, is this something new? Because I don't remember this. And he's like, I like this. You got to do this again. So then I know it's a good recipe to keep.
That's great. So if people would like to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
I have a website, and it's called mealswithsharon.com.
Okay.
You can also email me there at sharon@mealswithsharon.com. And then I have my upcoming cooking classes and that are posted there, or you can follow me on Facebook, and that is Cooking with Sharon in Pepperwood.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that. So I would like to thank you very much for joining us today, Break Free and Thrive. And you've given us an opportunity to entertain having someone cook for us, that being you. And I think a lot of women, when they go to, the grocery store and they see those prepared, meals ahead of time, they don't really get what it's like to have someone like yourself actually make the meal for them and provide a service that they can then deliver. And you do that on a weekly basis, correct?
Correct. Every Monday.
Okay. And you post your menu online so people can take a look at that as well and connect with you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And, if you're not in Utah or Salt Lake, you can always just Google healthy meal prep or, just a meal prep. Basically, that's what I do. But I do a gourmet flair. I don't watch carbs because I love carbs. But I do stick as many vegetables in there as I can. I use lean chicken, a lean ground beef, or a ground turkey. And then I have to add my own special touches to it, and people love it.
Yes, those are the Sharon touches that we all look for.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sharon, for joining us today on Break Free and Thrive. We look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you.